Health and Wellbeing is a public health non-governmental organization based right here in St. Kitts. Their mission is to improve the health and well-being of communities locally, regionally, and online. They achieve this by leading advocacy, implementing projects, and executing campaigns through collaboration and partnerships. Today, we are joined by Isalean Phillip, Advocacy and Research Officer at Lake Health and Wellbeing, to tell us about this organization. Welcome, Isalean.
Thank you. Thank you. Happy to be here.
Indeed. Now, the first thing that I noticed about you, apart from, recognizing you from before, is that shirt and what it signifies. And so it leads its way into our talking about the campaign that shirt signifies.
Yes, absolutely. So, of course, I'm here, repping Your Sweet Enough. So Your Sweet Enough is actually a public health education campaign that is being led by Lake Health and Wellbeing. And the objective of this campaign is really developed and designed to inform and educate the public about the dangers of consuming sugary beverages as one of the leading causes of, contributing to the risk factors of non-communicable diseases. So we're really trying to educate persons, let persons know about the dangers of consuming these beverages and how it's bad for our diets and bad for our health, so that we can, the idea is to help shift food culture and create healthier food environments. So we're campaigning and trying to inform the public, as well as working with the Ministry of Health to develop policies around these issues currently.
Well, I've got to say, the talking bottle does the trick.
You've seen some of our animations, yes. Yeah. So part of the campaign, we've been doing quite a few activities. So we have a lot of digital advocacy. So we have quite a few animations that try to engage the public in different ages. Also billboards around. We also do a virtual series. So we kind of try to connect with experts and individuals to talk about different issues around, the dangers of sugar, or different policy initiatives. And so I think we've been doing a lot of work. I feel exhausted. So I think the campaign's been going well. It launched last year in March on World Water Day, and it's actually wrapping up, coming to an end right now. It's been a year-long campaign. So
Okay, was the Tackling Childhood Obesity webinar of World Obesity Day a part of your Sweet Enough campaign?
Yes, so it was connected to that. So yes, we recently held a webinar that was on Saturday. Saturday passed because World Obesity Day was the day before, on the 4th. And so part of the problems is that we are seeing higher and higher rates of childhood obesity. And just a quick stat for persons when it comes to consuming sugary drinks in St. Kitts and Nevis, I think it's the Global Health Secondary School Survey had found that 62% of students, school-age children, are actually consuming at least one sugary beverage every day. Now, this is concerning because sugary drinks actually have zero nutritional value, and they just contribute to things like diabetes, cavities, different forms of cancers. And so our childhood obesity rate currently is like 1 in 3 children is considered to be either overweight or obese, and that's in St. Kitts. And so that's settling, because then these are children who eventually grow up to be adults and then have these chronic illnesses like diabetes, stroke, different forms of cancers, hypertension. And so we had this webinar, and it was, pretty informative. We had persons and organizations like the Diabetes Association represented. And so we just kind of gave information about what's happening around that area.
We do apologize. We had a bit of technical difficulty. Thank you for staying with us. As we continue with Isalean Phillip, you are also involved in Sweet Talk, your healthy drink series. Give us some insight into this.
Sure. So Sweet Talk is, as you know, is part of our one of the activities around the campaign. And essentially, I sit down with different persons. So we've had episodes with the NCD coordinator with the Ministry of Health, and we've talked about different policies that the Ministry of Health is looking at implementing around reducing the consumption of sugary drinks. We've also connected with Davina Baptiste, who works in kind of women's health, and we talked about the connections between consuming sugary drinks and women's health and women's reproductive health. That's been interesting. We've also had a nutritionist from the Ministry of Health talk to us about why water is important, because that's part of the campaign. We're trying to get persons to choose water instead of sugary drinks. We've also we've connected with our partners regionally from the Healthy Caribbean Coalition to talk about just broadly the challenges that we all face as a region around non-communicable diseases. And so we've had quite a few episodes so far, and they're essentially designed to kind of give information and get people thinking about the topic in different ways. So that's been pretty interesting and ongoing as part of the campaign.
Sorry.
I just love how sweet is used in everything, like sweet talk. You expect sweet talk to be in a relationship. You're sweet enough. I just love how the word sweet is used.
Yeah. Which, I mean, and that's, that's our tagline, you're sweet enough. And we have a jingle. I'm hoping that everybody's heard the jingle. So that jingle, the jingle was sang by De Jour, and it's pretty central to the campaign because it has all the messages where we're essentially telling people to drink some water, share some love, and tell your body that you're sweet enough. No need for the sweet drinks. So that's actually recognizable for folks. We have it on the radio. You've probably heard it, and your subconscious knows it.
Oh yes, absolutely. Like I said, when you came in, I was like that.
Yeah. So I'd love to hear it because we're actually trying to assess, the impact, and it seems to be it's connected with people, which is really what we really wanted.
I can imagine the work that you do is going to require a cultural shift because coming from St. Kitts and Nevis, sugar was in everything. Sugar was our industry. Sugar was the go-to. So.
Absolutely. Our palates are so used to it, and sugar as itself, it's actually an addictive substance. So it is a huge culture shift, and that's essentially what we're trying to do. We're trying to change and shift our relationship with food. So part of the education is getting people to really think about how much sugar that they're consuming when they drink these beverages. So part of what I do, I go out to different community centers, different groups to give presentations around the topic and give that information so people are empowered to be able to say, oh wow, there's so much sugar in this drink, maybe it's better for me to drink something else, because it's really about preserving public health, which is something that we need to do.
Yeah, I'm sweet enough.
Of course, you are. Absolutely. You are.
That's a great tagline, by the way.
It is, right?
Right, so Lake Health and Wellbeing is hosting a health advocacy workshop on the topic strengthening civil society's role. Who does this workshop cater to, and when will it take place?
Sure. So part of what we're doing, so it was actually a 2-part webinar series, and we had the first part in February. The next one is scheduled for March 25th, and it is a webinar, so it will be online. Registration is open to any persons or representatives from civil society organizations in St. Kitts or as well regionally. The last one was well attended. We had representation from different places across the region and the world. And it's really essentially what we're trying to do is build advocacy around health policy development. And so we're really trying to, we have speakers from different places that have been successful with lobbying government to implement different public health policies. And we're really trying to give that information and share the information to help build capacity for organizations and associations so that they know things like how to develop an advocacy campaign that's similarly successful, how to connect and do research, how to monitor campaigns. So these are some of the topics, and then because we're focusing and thinking about things like sugar-sweetened beverage policies, we have one of our colleagues or partners in another jurisdiction in Nigeria where they actually recently got government to approve a tax on sugary drinks. And so just to get their experience of advocating around that and some of the challenges. So it's really a space for any civil society organization to join and, just kind of hear, best practices and kind of be motivated to continue doing this work because it's tiring. And, the rewards aren't always immediately seen, but it's important work. Like I said, it's in the interest of public health and wellness.
We're going back to that Sweet Enough campaign.
Yes.
And I have to tell you, when I saw it, my gut reaction was, okay, this is a great campaign, but I can imagine that some of the major companies here, not saying that they have been, but it kind of puts you at odds in my mind economically, because we have companies that are pushing sweet, sugary beverages. And then here is this wonderful campaign that says, you know what, toss it, drink water. So is there any truth to that at all? Has there been any sort of opposition, or do you anticipate some sort of angst from big business?
Of course. So, one of the things that part of the advocacy around this is we are obviously telling persons to not purchase sugary drinks, and, policy initiatives would be something like placing a consumer tax on these sugary beverages. And of course, industry would be the biggest opposition to that. And we've seen that. We've seen that in other places that are, progressive in their advocacy around particularly implementing an SSB tax. Places like Barbados and Jamaica, where industry is even louder than particularly here in St. Kitts. And so, we do expect that. However, one of the things, we're not actually trying to, remove someone's bottom line or take work away from persons, because I think, what we're talking about here, I think we need to recognize is that we're talking about public health. The statistics for St. Kitts and Nevis is, 83% of all deaths are attributed to a preventable non-communicable disease. And so when we're talking about trying to shift food culture, industry has an option of, instead of being combative or instead of being, in opposition, they can be more cooperative and collaborative in the sense of, okay, what are ways that we can maybe reformulate our products and put less sugar, and make them with less sugar, or make healthier products. And that's an opportunity for market development in terms of healthy food and snacks, especially when it comes to our children. And so one of the things that we also are advocating for government to do is creating healthy school environments, which would particularly ban or restrict the sale of these drinks in and around schools. And of course, we've had well, what about the vendors? And of course, we're not trying to take away anybody's micro business, but there is precedent set, like in Barbados, where they've implemented a pilot of this type of policy, and they actually worked with the vendors, who I believe are equally concerned, because our vendors are grandmothers, their aunts, and they see that the children are just packing up on these sweets and these drinks. And so I think if we take a collaborative approach where we workshop with the vendors to say, okay, how about we produce healthy snacks and, do fruits, or we do local drinks that have limited sugar in them. When we do that education and try to support them in their work to be able to shift that culture, I think it's possible for it to get done. It doesn't have to be antagonistic, because like I said, public health should be everybody's business, and we're all about improving the health and well-being, because at the end of the day, as a federation, it leads back to our sustainable development. If we don't have people who are healthy enough to be productive, it will hit our bottom line in terms of GDP and what we are able to accomplish as a country and as a region.
All right. Well, where can we find out more about Lake Health and Wellbeing?
Well, we are on social media. So you can find out our website. We have a website. On there you can find out more about our different projects. So website is lakehealthandwellbeing.com. You can also find and follow us on all social media platforms. That's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We are on those platforms at Lake Health and Wellbeing. You can also find out more about the campaign, You're Sweet Enough. We have a campaign website. It's www.youaresweetenough.com. So just remember, youaresweetenough.com. And on there you can find, things like the virtual drinking series, all those episodes. You can see what we've been up to. We post regularly. It's a very active site. And you can also learn something new. So find us anywhere online. Just type in Lake Health and Wellbeing in St. Kitts, and you'll definitely find us.
That's good. I'm going to find you. I'm going to toss my water bottle. I'm sweet enough.
Yes.
Is that right?
Toss your water bottle or toss
your sugary drinks. Yes.
Oops.
You keep the water bottle.
Keep the water bottle. I got reprimanded on television. Here we go. I'll
Don't
keep
let
the
the
water
age
bottle.
bother you.
You see?